Hi, welcome back. I'm Julie Spencer, author of the Buxton Peak series. This is Buxton Peak Book 1, who is Ian Taylor. And when we left off yesterday at the end of Chapter 3, today we're reading Chapter 4. When we left off at the end of Chapter 3, Ian and Megan had just kissed for the first time. And they probably got a little too close to one another, a little closer than they should before marriage. So they were both a little bit embarrassed about that. But I think they both kind of realized that things were getting really serious between the two of them. So, beginning of Chapter 4. Chapter 4 is called Too Close and Yet So Far. Well, it sounds like you had a boring, uneventful summer like I did, Rhonda teased. She and Megan were just getting moved back into their dorm rooms and hadn't talked for months. They'd been suite mates in the dorms for the first 3 years at Central Michigan University, and although they'd had a couple of different roommates move in and out, the two of them were always just across the common room from one another. They liked it that way. Their respective roommates were more like acquaintances, but Rhonda and Megan were best friends. Although they had drastically different values and very little in common, they'd known each other since middle school. Rhonda had practically lived at Megan's house one summer while her parents were going through a bitter divorce, and Megan loved her like an irresponsible little sister. I think I'm in love with him, Megan collapsed onto the sofa and sighed. Is he in love with you? Rhonda laughed. I don't know. He's always so elusive. I don't know much about him, and what I do know is frustrating. He basically admitted that he's not willing to settle down, like ever, and that scares me. I just know how he makes me feel, and it's amazing. Can you show me a picture? Yes. Megan sat up and reached for her cell phone. Sort of. He's only let me take a couple of photos with him, and I tricked him into letting me take one little video, but he grabbed the phone from me and turned it off. You should hear his voice. Oh my gosh, he has the most hypnotic British accent. Rhonda laughed as Megan went on, but stopped short when she saw the pictures. Oh my gosh, he is hot. Rhonda dragged out the word hot in emphasis. She scrolled through the photos and then looked up at Megan with disbelief in her eyes. You snagged him? Don't look so surprised. Megan knew her mousy brown long hair and geeky persona probably made Rhonda question what a guy like him would want in a girl like her. She wondered that herself. She grabbed the phone back and scrolled over to the one video. Okay, listen to this. Rhonda listened as Megan told Ian to smile for the camera, and her shoulders melted as she listened to Ian chastise Megan in his playful way. Will you stop taking images of me? He grinned at her as he stepped forward and put his hand out. I'd much rather have photographs of you instead. You're far more beautiful. The camera flipped around so Megan was smiling into the viewer, and he put his finger on the button to take a snapshot, and it turned the video off. He thought he was taking your picture, didn't he? Yeah. Megan looked back down at the photos with a content sigh. He doesn't know I took the video. We'll just keep that our little secret. He is yummy, Rhonda confirmed. Is he good in bed? What? Megan pushed Rhonda, thinking she was joking. I wouldn't know. What? Rhonda's mouth fell open and she raised her eyebrows. You haven't slept with him? Of course not. Megan felt heat rush to her cheeks. We're not married. Oh, man. Rhonda shook her head and walked away. I thought you'd finally gotten over this whole purity thing. Purity is forever, Rhonda. Right. I'll keep that in mind next time I meet a guy like that. We did make out on the beach once. Megan looked away and bit her lower lip. It was pretty incredible. Oh my gosh, tell me everything. Tell you everything about what? Jenny barged into the common room with her suitcase and backpack. The excitement of the moment was diminished as Megan's roommate returned from summer break. Megan has a boyfriend, and he is smoking hot. Oh, stop. Megan stepped over and put her phone on the table and reached over to give her roommate a quick hug. How was your summer? Great, Jenny smiled. My parents gave me a new car for my birthday. Megan and Rhonda spent the next half hour helping Jenny get her things up the stairs and even took a drive in Jenny's new Honda Civic. Rhonda kept giving Megan a knowing look as if to confirm that their conversation was far from over and that she was expecting more details about Ian at a later date and time. Now we get into an email again, okay? This is from Ian to Megan. Megan, Chicago is the type of city where you can pull your cap down over your face and be completely anonymous. Wish you were here. Kissing you at the top of the Willis Tower would be very cool. Our hotel suite looks down upon the business district, so is very quiet at night. Some of my mates headed over to the bars around the corner. My body is stuck in London time, but my watch is only an hour off. If I'd known we were going to be this long in Chicago, I would have stayed in Michigan. It's just across the little pond. You would probably call it Lake Michigan. I call it a torturous difference in space between you and me. So close I could drive there, and too far away to make it there and back. I know I should be enjoying what they call the Windy City, but I just want to be back in Michigan. Sorry to sound so depressed. It's like I left part of me on that beach. I don't want that part of me back. I want to be back with it. Does that make sense? Did I allow myself to get too close to you? I worry that I'm setting myself up to get hurt. I feel so vulnerable right now. How is college? Did all your flatmates get back to school safely? Write to me, okay? Ian. Ian, sorry you're having such a tough evening. I'm not planning to break your heart if that's what you're worried about. I hope that helps you get through the night. I've never been to Chicago. Maybe you can show it to me sometime. Everyone made it back to school safely. My sweet mate Rhonda says you look hot in your pictures. I have to agree with her. I worry that geeky little Megan isn't pretty enough for a handsome guy like you. You feel vulnerable. Try being in my shoes. You live such a glamorous and exciting life, and I'm so boring. What could you possibly see in me? I'm surprised every time I get a text or email from you. I'm afraid one of these days they'll stop coming, and that part of me that has left with you will never return. If you come back soon, then we'll both be whole. How soon will that be? Megan. Ian read and reread her email and finally just picked up the phone. It was late, but she had to be awake or she wouldn't have answered him so quickly. Still on Megan time? Her voice was little more than a whisper. Is it too late to talk? My roommate's asleep, so I'll have to be quiet. Are you feeling better? I miss you, that's all. You've really thrown a wrench into my life, you know that? Sorry, you're rather distracting yourself. I'm going to try to make it back to Michigan before Christmas. I've got a little time before I have to be back in Europe. Will you set aside a few days for me? Ian, you're the one who's always running around the world, Megan sighed. Where's this heading? We live on separate continents. I can't just uproot my life and come to Europe. And you say you don't want to settle down. Where does that leave us? You're not breaking up with me, are you? No. I think some things changed last week. You're just going to have to forget what I said about never settling down, because at this point, I don't know how much longer I want to be away from you. How about this? Megan began. My semester starts tomorrow. Let's see how things go for the next few months and see how we feel at Christmas. Then you go to Europe, I'll finish college, and by next summer, either we'll want to be together or we won't. I don't know about you, but I kind of liked being in your arms. I think you probably figured out how much I like being in your arms, Ian chuckled. I'm pretty sure I liked it a little too much. Well, I think we'll both have something to look forward to at Christmas time. I think you're right. I've got to focus on school for a couple of months, but will you text me from every city you visit and tell me something fun about each one? I can do that, Ian said. He looked up when he heard someone coming in the door. I gotta go. My mates are back. I'll text you from San Diego tomorrow, all right? I look forward to it. Good night, Megan. Good night, Ian. And then this next part is a text from Ian. It says, flying into San Diego is like... Okay, let's start over. Flying into San Diego is like landing on a planet that is one big city, Ian's text read. There is nothing green as far as the eye can see. I'll enjoy the green of Michigan until you come back to visit, Megan replied. In a few weeks or months, your watch will read the correct time. I'll look forward to that. Okay, that's the end of that text message series. We're going back to Megan's dorm here, okay? Will you turn off that loud music? Megan threw her backpack on her bed and walked over to Jenny's side of her room to turn down the volume on the country station that was blaring from the little speaker. How can you study with that on? It was drowning out Rhonda's obnoxious rap music. Besides, not all of us have to listen to Piano Concerto in G major in order to memorize the periodic table of the elements. I memorized those years ago, Megan mumbled under her breath. Geek, Jenny said. Rhonda threw a pillow across the room at Jenny and grabbed her student ID from her bag. Ready to go down and get some dinner? Jenny asked. Yeah, if you don't mind hanging out with a geek, Megan smiled back. Maybe some of it will rub off on me if I hang out with you more, Jenny said. The girls shut the door to their dorm room and headed down the hall, bumping shoulders a couple of times. This next is a text from Ian. We got to see Temple Square in Salt Lake City. I've never been there. It was incredible. Have you ever been there? No, I never have. I always wanted to visit Utah. I'll bring you here sometime. Sounds like a plan. Okay, that's the end of the text messages for a minute. This is in the library. Hey, Megan. She looked up from gathering her books after her study session. What's up, Jared? Megan didn't want to be rude, but she was done tutoring him for one night. She was getting a little tired of his constant questions. No matter how many other people showed up for their study group, he always seemed to think she would know the answers. The problem was she almost always did. She was glad to help, but it got to be a little much. I wondered what you're doing Friday night. Oh, I try to give myself a break on the weekends. Maybe I'll go watch a movie with my roommates or something. I'm not really up for another study session. No, that's not what I meant, he stammered and looked down at his shoes. Maybe you'd like to come with me to a movie or something. Understanding came over her and she was a little surprised. That's why he was always asking for her help. He was interested in more than just a tutor. Are you asking me out on a date? Yeah, if you'd like. We could get some dinner or something too. Jared, that's really nice of you, but I'm sort of seeing someone else. Sort of? It's kind of a long distance thing. Oh, well, that's cool. He started gathering up his things and backed away from the table. If you change your mind, let me know. Thanks, Jared. She smiled at him. See you next Tuesday. As he was walking away, Megan's phone vibrated with a text from Ian. Have you ever been to the St. Louis Arch? It was so cool. I stood underneath it and looked up. I wished you were there with me so I could have held your hand. There was a young couple in the grass kissing. I thought you'd like to know that. Sounds like fun. Holding hands under the arch or kissing? How about both? Sounds good to me. Me too. Megan hesitated for just a moment before sending one more quick text. I just got hit on by a guy in my study group. What? That was a text with lots of question marks and exclamation points. He asked me to go to a movie with him on Friday night. Should I say yes? There was no reply for a few moments, so Megan sent another text. Are you still there? Text that comes back from Ian says, give me a minute. I'm trying to see how many obligations I can cancel between now and Friday so I can book a charter jet and get to Michigan. Megan laughed loud enough to catch the attention of the students 3 tables over. Don't worry, I told him no already. Jealous much? Don't scare me like that. His text read, you worry too much, Ian. Hey, I gotta go get some late dinner and hit the sack. I have a test in the morning. Are you dining alone this evening? Yes, because apparently my boyfriend is in St. Louis right now. Is that what I am? Your boyfriend? Do you want to be my boyfriend? I want to be a lot more than that. Megan wasn't sure how to answer that, so she just stared at her phone with a soft smile, and warmth filled her heart. Finally, she sent one last little text. Good night, Ian. Good night, Megan. What are you doing? Ian asked. That's another text. This is a new section. I'm in class, Megan texted back. I can't really talk. What are you doing? Sitting here waiting to go over to a concert. She started to ask him what concert he was going to see, but her professor called on her to answer a question and she never had a chance to text him back. A little while later, one more text came through. You still there? Megan felt bad later when she realized she'd missed him, but figured that 2 hours had passed, so he had probably left for his concert. She got distracted with dinner at the dining commons and a late evening institute meeting. She fell asleep early because she had class at 8 o'clock the next day. The next afternoon, she got another text. Are you mad at me? She smiled, confused. No, why? You never texted me back yesterday. I got busy. My professor was watching me the rest of class because he caught me texting you. You almost got me in trouble. How was your concert? Unremarkable. Why? I was distracted because this beautiful American girl forgot to text me back. I thought she was mad at me. I'm not mad at you. Megan hit send and texted one more time. I miss you. I miss you too. Thought maybe you'd taken that guy up on his offer for a date. Jealous? Yes. I'm thinking I might have to put a ring on your hand to scare off the other guys. Very funny. Megan felt her heart speed up. She knew things were getting serious between the two of them, but she wasn't sure she was ready for a ring. I can't compete. He's there. I'm here. There's no competition, she reassured him. Where is here? I have no idea. In a very nice motorhome traveling down a highway somewhere in the United States. I'll find out. You want to Skype? I want to see your beautiful face and you can finally meet my mates. They all seem to be awake right now. Sure. Give me a few minutes to get back to my dorm room and I'll call you. I'll be impatiently waiting, his text read. Megan slipped her phone back in her pocket, shoved her books in her backpack, and hurried out of the library. And that is the end of chapter 4. Next, we will read chapter 5, which is called Good Morning America. It's a good chapter, by the way. All right, see you later.